Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hera TV. My name is Laleh Hancock. I'm one of the Hera advisors, and I have the great pleasure of introducing someone very special to you today, Marie Delanote. Hello, Marie, welcome.
How lovely to be here. How are you?
Awesome, awesome. I'm actually in Paris, France. So how does it get any better than that? How could you complain when you're in Paris? You know, it's amazing.
Oh, fantastic.
Now, Marie, I know, we've had just a very short conversation, and there's so many things that you've done in this world, empowering others, letting them know that there's so much more available for them to choose and really transform their lives to really the life they'd like to have. And I know your journey wasn't just that it started yesterday, it started when you were 17. And I would love for you to share a little bit about that inspiration, the moment that kind of sparked that this is what you wanted to do.
Yeah. To be honest, it's for as long as I can remember, this whole world, especially that age, it was making little potions so it would have a positive effect. I would write little stories about a magic pill so I would suddenly be clever because traditional school system was nothing for me. So I was a dreamer, always doing other stuff. And loving the oracle cards. And I think it's especially at the age of 17 when I started to have more independence and I was allowed to walk around on my own in town, and I would smell the essence of the those of the holistic shops. So it would literally just guide me in, and that was the very start of the real fascination of that world and how it all worked. And my grandfather, who was a doctor in medicine, so everything very scientific, but he could read palmistry, and he could read the energy, I'd say, because the future, whatever is in the oracle cards, changes depending on how you evolve. It just shows you the energy, where you're going, depending on what you're vibrating out. But he could read that in normal playing cards. So I loved his stories. Even though his whole life there was this huge disbalance of, it needs to be scientifically proven, but here is what I can do, and it's true. So it was a big thing, but I found it hugely fascinating to listen to his stories, to keep putting my hands underneath his nose, saying, read my hands. And he said to me one day, he took my hands and he closed them and he said, you make your own future. And I remember thinking, oh, come on. I was 12 years old. Just read what's in my hands. Of course, he could probably see loads of things, but now the message came through very clearly. And what I really understand now, you make your own future. So you might have certain lines and soul things that you decided to come here that you would do, but you can, as you grow in consciousness and awareness, you shape your own path with your mindset, the vibration of your mindset, being able to regulate your emotions. So changing that vibration, because that's the start, the kickoff of how you create energy. And of course, as we know, the physical world is made from 99.99999% atoms, energy. So when you change the vibration, you change the shape of the energy. So you change the shape of the physical world. But if I can continue, the real transformational moment was actually years later, because as many people will know, it's part of our awareness growth, our consciousness growth, of why we're here, to change, to realize things, to change things, to improve things. And it was only when I was 32 years old, so I had learned Reiki and psychic surgery, so how to change things using the vibration of the mind. But there was always this thing in the back of my mind, who am I to do this work? Why is it me who can do this? So there was a lot of doubt. So what happened when I was 32 years old? I was pregnant with our fourth child. I have 4 children. That's a whole story in itself. Anyway, I think all mums will say that.
Yeah.
So I was pregnant very early in the pregnancy, and we moved from Belgium, where I'm from, to England, because that's where my husband's from. And it was a real struggle. I was literally pulled my roots out, and I couldn't find the ground underneath my feet. Everything was so different. I had no family. I had no friends. My husband traveled loads, and every time he left, I felt completely left alone. So my mood really spiraled. I felt angry. I felt hopeless, alone. And of course, that had an effect on my physical body, but I'll get there in a moment so people can really see the effect of the mindset and the emotions on our physical world, on our physical life. So I was 23 weeks pregnant, and my waters broke.
Wow.
So I knew straight away, this is not right. Baby cannot live right now. So I was whizzed to the hospital. My husband took me there, and then they took me in an ambulance, 2-hour drive, 2 hours away from home. And my husband had stayed and with the children. And the next morning, I went to the toilet. I was on the dot, 24 weeks pregnant. I remember thinking, at least it's 24 weeks now. If anything happens, she has a chance. They would do something to help her. Before that, it was cut off. They wouldn't. I went to the toilet, and don't ask me why, but there's a mirror in front of the toilet in the maternity. And I look up, and I have this tiny little head between my legs. And I panicked because I knew she was just being born. So I pulled the emergency cord. Within seconds, there was doctors and midwives, and the alarm was going off as a sign to the neonatal intensive care unit that something was happening. So as I was standing there being supported by midwives in the toilet of the hospital, my baby was born.
Wow.
There was no sound. Her eyes were fused shut. Her skin was sticky red. Her brain hadn't unfolded yet, and I can keep going. And as they whizzed her away and intubated her and took her, did everything they could medically, in that moment, I completely surrendered. As I was at the bottom of the barrel, I let go. Because when that happens to your child, I was like, hands up, I'm done. There's nothing else I can do. And they wheeled the bed over, and it was heaving with people, curious people coming to see what was going on, still doctors, midwives, nurses. And as they put me into that bed, suddenly it was as peaceful as I have ever felt. I was surrounded with the most surreal love and peace. I couldn't feel it with my physical feelings. It wasn't physical. It was just beyond the physical world. And I always say, if I could have bottled that in that moment, to just let it out and show the world how surrounded we are by love and protection, I would have done so. And at that moment, even though nothing was okay, nothing was fine, I knew everything was okay. And at that moment in time, as I had learned so much about the healing world, even though I didn't believe in myself, so what did the universe do? They brought me my 1 pound baby. And in that moment in time, it just kept doing everything I had ever learned. I was doing color healing, angel healing, Reiki, psychic surgery, you name it. Everything I learned, I did it. I had the highest connection. Suddenly, it's like this barrier went, and I was fully connected with the essence of who we are. Just pure love, pure healing, perfect health. And she is now a divinely perfect, healthy 10-year-old.
Oh, such great news. Fantastic. Fantastic. You know, it's so interesting because like we all have moments in our lives that we gave ourselves permission to let go all the crazy thoughts, all the worst case scenarios, and really for a moment, like you said, surrender and allow you to actually receive from this magical world we live in. You know, we can look at it from there's problem here, there's problem there. But if we change our mindset, like you said earlier, and actually expand it, you really brought in a world of what else is possible I've never considered before. You know, like you were willing to go beyond what your mind could say was possible and really connect and allow the whole universe to contribute. And you know, it's interesting because sometimes it is through moments of difficulty, moments of when everything seems like it's gone wrong, that's the beginning of our other journey, a journey of exploration and magic and miracles.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's a great lesson. The message is to, as humans, we just love to try and be in control, to hold on. This is what I'm doing, and
Oh
I'm gonna
yeah.
stick by it. But oh my God, it's like you're trying to stop this massive river. Is it possible? No, it's not. But the second we just turn around and we let the river push us, everything just flows. And I think that's a huge lesson for everyone. I'm like a bulldog. When I want something, I would bite in it and I hold on tight. But it has hit me in the face so many times. So that was an enormous lesson for myself as well, because we always think we need to control it, we need to do this. But what if you let go? Because everything flows. We forget that there is, especially women, we can see it, we have these natural cycles. Nature doesn't stay the same. Nature has cycles. A flower, a plant, it doesn't constantly stay the same. It has cycles. So if we can really tune into that, in the letting go, I think as a human being, that's one of the hardest things to do, is letting go and trust. But once you do that, everything can transform, because instead of trying to stop the river and being knocked over and drowning and being,
Yeah.
going through all these difficult things, which I did, because the universe had to bring me my 1 pound baby so I would realize, come on, Marie, just let go, open up, release the boundaries and trust. We don't need to have those difficult times in order to transform our lives. All we need to do is let go and trust. And we might, as we're being swept by that river and we're being pushed forward, we might sometimes go under, or we might suddenly be swept up. But if you keep going with the flow, you beautifully land again and you keep moving forwards.
Yeah. And you know, one thing you say a lot, you are in charge, you are the change. And that's actually one of my main things that I tell everyone is that it starts with you. And like you said, for me, we really are the ocean, but we're also the drop in the ocean. So, you know, like the way that you paraphrased it as well, is like there are moments that, you know, it's going to be what appears to be rough and difficult. And there might be moments that just seems like it's so different than what you imagined, but that's where the magic is. That's where the miracles are, is the unpredictable world, you know? But you have to start, you know, and we have lots of different kinds of listeners. So thank you everyone who's here listening or you're watching this. But each of us has so many different gifts. And each of us has to start from that point of, what is it I actually would like to add to my life? Where is it I'd like to go? Because so often we're lost in that ocean because we don't know the direction we're going. And it is easy to be swept away by everyone else's drop instead of, hey, I am the drop, I am the ocean, I have the support, I got to have my own back. I want to go there. Okay, now what do I need to put in place to get there? Who do I need to add to my life and living? Where do I need to go? How do I find the information I need? But it has to also start with us taking initiative and desiring to go. Because otherwise, it's so easy for us to have to do it everyone else's way into the world they're desiring to create. And it's very easy to get lost that way.
Absolutely, yes. I think it's a really good point, and I totally agree with you. In all the teachings I do, all the one-on-one sessions, the coaching, whatever it is I teach, I always start with that. The number one is accountability. And I think any one of the listeners, I'm sure they can relate to this, and I've been there too. We try and say, oh, it's their fault. It was my father's fault. It was because my mother did this. But if we can realize that blame kills all accountability, because at the end of the day, if we can say, okay, this all happened, that's an old story. But if we now go, because people tend to replay stories, I'm sure people listening can hear the saying and suddenly realize, oh my goodness, it's true. You know, I keep saying this from the past. But if we can say, we shut that door and we say, okay, I'm accountable, because the energy you vibrate out is the energy that will affect your physical world. And if you go and change the vibration of your mindset, the vibration of your emotions, then everything else will fall into place. And of course, that might not be easy at the beginning, because things will shift and people around you will be like, oh, what's going on here? You didn't used to say this. You didn't used to feel like that. But if you want the change, you cannot care about that, because you need to trust that whatever is perfect for you, which will make you happier than anything you can imagine, it starts within yourself, and it will all fall into place in absolute perfection. But you be accountable and start changing from within. That vibration is the start of everything.
Yeah, this is so beautiful, and especially everything that, I would say is the core of why we're here. Hera City is, and the Hera programs around the world, all of it is about you becoming the source of your life and living, you being that leader, and not about here's a hand-me-down, here's let us do it for you, but how do we empower you? How do the resources empower you to actually stand up for yourself, And so I'm curious, about Hera, about Hera City. Like, what's your vision of Hera 5 years, 10 years down the road?
Well, I absolutely think it's the most amazing thing, because we see that something needs to change in the world, and Hera is being accountable. We're saying, okay, we're not liking what we're seeing, so let's do something about this. Every person individually involved in Hera, and then putting it all together. Where do I see it in 5 years' time? I think this can only grow, not just for women, but also for men. Because, as women, as we taking that charge and changing things and all the incredible things Hera is doing, our men will see that. Our men will also positively change, because it's one thing at the time. So it's not just, even though it's women, it's not just about women. It's for all the men that will come in contact and will see what the women are doing, just for the future. So we can build towards a future where it is safe for women, because men are respectful and beautifully involved and respecting every aspect of humanity, whether it's male, female, or any other way that humans see themselves as. So I think it's an absolutely amazing thing that will only get stronger and bigger, not just for women, but for everyone involved. It's like the drop in the river, and it just ripples and will energetically affect everyone. And if it vibrationally affects the energy affects the physical. So it will really grow.
And actually, we do say that we're here for humanity. You know, we're focusing on women because women are the leaders of their communities, you know, the same way you just described it, you know, the people in her life, whether it's her husband or, you know, loved ones, her children, her community, her neighbors. And it is the women who tend to bring that community and empower that community. So that's where it's focused, but it really is knowing that our services never exclude men, you know, but it's also how do we educate and empower women to also stand up for themselves, you know, to not from fight, because fight is not what's going to solve it, but by themselves having greater confidence, by themselves knowing that they're capable for so much more, by themselves empowering themselves. We'll have a marketplace as well with Hera City so that they can also sell whatever it is they're producing, whatever their products, their services are, because it's about empowering them to stand up and be strong. So
Amazing.
thank you so much. We're at the end of our show here for today. So
Already?
yes,
That's fast.
one question though. So do you have some words of advice for people that are listening, empowering them to choose something different?
I think number one is be accountable. If you feel that this old story is not working for me, if when you open your eyes and your physical world is not what you truly desire it to be, then you know it's time for change. So take the action, take the accountability, and go within and go and find, where is it I want to be? Go and choose better feeling thoughts. Wouldn't it be nice if? Or go and feel how it physically changes. And that's the first step. And then you go from there, be persistent. Because like going to the gym, you feel, okay, I want to lose weight, I want to, you know, build some muscle. You get a gym membership. After the first gym session, you might think, oh, that feels so much better. But when you look in the mirror, nothing has changed. But if you go back and you go back again, you go back again and again, eventually the change will come. And that's the thing, be persistent. If you feel you don't like what you're seeing around you, what's happening, go within, be accountable, change it one step at a time and stick to it, because you really aren't alone. If you have a difficult time, sit back, eat a tub of ice cream, relax, and then get back on the horse. But don't give up.
I have a mentor who always says, never give up, never stop. And what's the last one? Because it's like when we give up, we're actually giving up on ourselves. We're giving up on the future we desire to create. We're not allowing ourselves to take the two next steps that are required to actually allow it to physically actualize. So, you know, just like Marie said, don't give up, never stop, and give yourself permission to take two more steps.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marie, for being here today. And thank you all for watching. We're so grateful for you. If you have any questions, you can go to heracity.org and click on the Contact Us page. And we'd love to hear from you. And please, will you please contribute to spreading this message to more and more people around the world? You can like it, comment. It allows the algorithms to take it to wherever it's got to go. And also feel free to share it with your friends, strangers, wherever you meet, because all of this is about empowering each of us to know there's so much more available we haven't even considered yet. So thank you all, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you, Marie.
It was amazing. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.